She is the first artist in history to have a song spend over 100 weeks at #1 on the Christian charts. She's won 2 Grammys and sold out arenas around the globe. But before the world knew her voice, Lauren Daigle was a teenager trapped in a room for 2 years. No touring, no spotlight, just illness, isolation, and a dream that felt delayed. How does 2 years of forced silence turn into a voice that defines a generation? Today, we look at the story of Lauren Daigle, not just as a pop star, but as a girl who had to find her identity in God when everything else was stripped away. Why does this matter? Because Lauren's life proves that God often uses your seasons of waiting to prepare you for your season of impact. Lauren grew up in the vibrant music box of Lafayette, Louisiana, surrounded by Zydeco, blues, and Cajun soul. She loved to sing, but music wasn't her primary plan. That changed at age 15 when she was diagnosed with cytomegalovirus, also known as CMV. This diagnosis didn't just make her sick, it stole 2 years of her life. While her friends were getting driver's licenses and going to dances, Lauren was homebound and bedridden. Isolation can either shrink you or shape you. In that wilderness season, Lauren had nothing but a Bible, a journal, and a voice she began to use constantly. She later said that season forced her to ask the ultimate question: if I never stand on a stage, who am I? Could this be you? Someone in a waiting room of life, feeling like your best years are being wasted. The encounter that defined her wasn't a flashing light, it was a whisper in the dark. During her illness, Lauren says God gave her visions of the stages she would one day stand on. She didn't have a record deal. She had a promise. When she recovered, she auditioned for American Idol, not once, but 3 times. She was cut before the final rounds every time. For many, that's where the story ends. But for Lauren, rejection was a tool for clarification. She realized her calling wasn't tied to a TV show, but to an audience God was preparing for her. She decided that if she ever got her health back, she would give her voice entirely to Him. In 2015, her debut album, How Can It Be, shook the industry, but 2018 changed everything with You Say. It wasn't just a church song. It was a universal anthem for an age of insecurity. It stayed on the Billboard Hot 100 for over a year because it met a cultural wound. Lauren and her team had a saying: extend the tent pegs. She wasn't trying to leave her faith behind. She was trying to bring the message to the masses. She became a crossover success, appearing on Ellen and The Tonight Show, bringing a gritty, soulful sound to spaces where the gospel was rarely heard. She experienced what one may refer to as the weight of the bridge. Crossover success is a double-edged sword. Lauren found herself in the loneliness of the middle, criticized by the religious for being too worldly, and scrutinized by the world for being too religious. When asked hot-button questions in mainstream interviews, she often declined to give political answers, stating she was called to be a light, not a culture war commentator. This created intense backlash. Some called it compromise. She called it mission-focused. She had to learn a hard truth. You cannot control how people interpret your obedience. You live in a space where everyone wants you to pick a side, but your only side is the kingdom. The cost of Lauren's obedience was her comfort zone. She traded the safety of the Christian bubble for the scrutiny of the global stage. She had to navigate the identity crisis of fame while keeping her heart protected. The platform didn't answer her childhood question of, who am I? Her faith did. She chose to be a missionary to the culture, using her voice to build bridges rather than walls. She proved that influence is a stewardship, and the cost of reaching the world is often being misunderstood by those you left on the shore. Was it worth it? Today, her music is oxygen for widows needing comfort and teenagers needing a friend. Her legacy is found in the Price Fund, named after her grandfather, which has donated millions to fight human trafficking and support children in poverty. Her true fruit is her resilience. She showed the world that a girl from Louisiana could take her sickbed songs and heal a broken world. She proved that the silence of her teenage years was actually the incubation for her future. Rejection was not the enemy of her destiny, it was the path to it. What is the takeaway for your life? 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Lauren Daigle's life proves that God doesn't need your strength, He needs your surrender. Your season of silence isn't a punishment, it's a preparation. The voice that shakes arenas today was once singing alone in a bedroom. What is God saying to you in your waiting room today? Trust the silence. Are you in a season of forced waiting? What if this isn't a delay, but a deep work of God in your identity? If you are choosing identity over insecurity today, type "I know who I am" in the comments. Make sure to subscribe as we continue to tell the stories of the voices that were forged in the fire. Like, share, and subscribe for more.